Mulch is, honestly, one of the most powerful tools a gardener can use. It retains moisture, regulates soil temperature, suppresses weeds, and even improves fertility as it decomposes. Yet, despite all its benefits, most gardeners make a critical mistake that turns this helpful layer into, well, a pest magnet. I learned this the hard way. Beds that were supposed to flourish suddenly hosted swarms of insects, slugs, and other unwanted visitors. After digging into historical gardening methods and experimenting firsthand, I discovered the exact cause and, more importantly, the solution. When applied incorrectly, mulch creates dark, moist havens that pests just love. But when done correctly, it transforms beds into thriving, pest-resistant ecosystems. Understanding how to use mulch effectively is really a lesson in observing natural processes and mimicking what the most resilient farmers have done for centuries. It's not about piling material blindly. It's about thoughtful application. Mulch attracts pests when it is too thick or sits directly against plant stems. One of the most common mistakes is applying mulch in a thick, continuous layer that touches the base of plants. While it may seem efficient, this creates perfect hiding spots for slugs, snails, and certain insects. Moisture becomes trapped at the base of stems, providing the damp environment pests need to thrive. Historical accounts from traditional European gardens describe the same phenomenon. Gardeners learned to leave a small gap around plant stems to prevent infestation. In practice, what you want to do is maintain a gap of at least 2 to 3 inches between the base of your plants and the mulch. This keeps the soil covered but prevents moisture accumulation at the crown, making it less hospitable for pests without sacrificing the benefits of mulch. Mulch attracts pests when the material is not fully decomposed. Fresh plant material, straw or clippings, can attract pests because it contains moisture, sugar, and other compounds that insects feed on. Over time, as mulch decomposes and microbes break it down, it becomes less attractive to pests while increasing its value to the soil. Ancient farmers often aged their mulch before applying it, ensuring it was partially decomposed, soft and crumbly. This, minimized pest attraction and really accelerated soil improvement. For practical application, just let clippings, leaves or straw sit for a few weeks in a shaded pile, occasionally turning if needed, until they darken and lose their fresh-cut stickiness. Then simply apply this aged mulch to your beds. The right mulch thickness is honestly key to pest prevention. Too thin, and mulch fails to suppress weeds or retain moisture. Too thick, and it becomes a shelter for pests. The ideal depth, based on both historical practices and modern observation, is 2 to 3 inches for general garden beds. For heavier materials, like straw or wood chips, a slightly thicker layer of up to 4 inches works, provided plant stems are kept clear. This depth, really strikes the balance between maximizing benefits and minimizing pest risk. When applying mulch, spread it evenly and press lightly so it contacts the soil without compacting it. And avoid leaving clumps or mounds where insects can hide undisturbed. Layering mulch correctly protects plants and encourages beneficial organisms. Rather than dumping a single type of material, layering actually enhances its effectiveness. Start with a thin base of partially decomposed leaves or shredded paper, followed by straw, hay or wood chips on top. This layering discourages pests by reducing uniform hiding spaces while feeding soil microbes and worms that improve soil fertility. Many traditional farms use similar techniques, alternating organic materials to maintain both soil health and garden hygiene. Practically, a gardener could place a half-inch layer of shredded leaves directly on soil, followed by an inch or two of straw. This combination supports microbial activity and worm populations while keeping pests at bay. Mulch is most effective when integrated with regular observation and maintenance. Even with the correct application, mulch requires periodic inspection. Remove any decomposed material harbouring pests and lightly stir sections where moisture might accumulate. Checking beds weekly ensures the mulch remains beneficial rather than a trap. Historical gardening wisdom emphasizes observation. The gardener's eyes were as important as the tools, noting signs of insect presence and adjusting organic matter placement accordingly. For example, after a rain, inspect the mulch around seedlings for excessive dampness or slug trails. If found, redistribute or thin the layer in affected areas to restore balance. Mulch can be a powerful pest deterrent when combined with companion plants and natural predators. Strategically planting pest-repelling herbs or flowers alongside mulched beds enhances the protective effect. Marigolds, garlic, and certain flowering herbs deter insects, while encouraging predators like ground beetles and spiders further reduces pest pressure. So, this combination of proper mulch application and companion planting, well, it really does replicate the naturally balanced ecosystems that historical gardeners relied on to maintain healthy crops without chemicals. For practical use, just scatter marigolds between rows and be sure to maintain a mulch gap around plant stems. This creates both physical and biological barriers that pests tend to avoid, while also enriching the soil underneath. Using mulch correctly transforms beds from pest magnets into thriving ecosystems. The key lesson really is that mulch is not inherently problematic. It becomes so when misapplied. By maintaining proper thickness, leaving gaps at plant bases, using partially decomposed materials, and layering thoughtfully, mulch encourages beneficial soil life, retains moisture, suppresses weeds, and protects plants from pests. With careful observation and maintenance, gardens flourish with minimal intervention. For anyone eager to elevate their gardening practice, subscribe to Farm Logic for more insights on historical techniques, modern adaptations, and low-effort strategies that transform your garden. Share this guide with fellow enthusiasts and start applying mulch the right way to protect your plants, feed your soil, and keep pests away naturally.